Now listen. When I mean love, I don't mean in love, okay? This isn't some story about an unrequited love of a young student with her art teacher. It's not that kind of story. This is the story about the one art teacher that I had that everyone hated and that I respect and admired. So yeah, I love the guy. Platonically. Now that we've got that out of the way, I'm sure many of you have your own variety of stories about art teachers. Some are okay, some are pretty cool. And there are those dreaded art teachers who'll ridicule your taste in art style and crush your art dreams. And then there's my art teacher. I've had a lot of art teachers, but this one really left quite the impression on me. I remember when I first had that conference at the beginning of a new semester of grade 11. The teachers made all the students watch this boring PowerPoint introducing what to expect for the school year. And on one part, they showed the teachers for a specific subject, showing their profile pictures, names, and description. I couldn't care less for the other teachers, but when it was my art teacher's turn, it caught my attention. There on the screen was the profile of the art teacher who's supposed to be in charge of the art classes for my last 2 years of high school. His name is, let's say, Sir Jeffrey. Yes, we address our teachers with Sir rather than Mr. That's how it is in an international school in the Philippines. He looked to be in his late 30s, but his hair was already turning gray. He had this deadpan expression on his face that screams, "I hate children." And with my anxiety and fear of all social interaction, I was not looking forward to meeting him. When I had my first art class, he didn't look as intimidating as his picture. He taught us the history of art, stuff like the old architecture with the arches, churches with naked people on the ceiling, and how good art can look like fever dreams. And then there are those art movements. You know what I'm talking about, fellow artists. I'm talking about the Renaissance, that classicism, that impressionism, that expressionism, that pop art, that conceptual art, that minimalism, so many movements. From the beginning of the year, anyways, it was like a whole new subject to me. Cause from my experience of art class, my previous art teachers taught me squat. Alright kids, I want you to paint some bird, and I want you to do it in watercolor, which I won't teach you how to do properly. You gotta do it yourself. Isn't the point of art class to teach your students how to do art? Come on guys, I know it's just art, not like them science, or math, or frickin' general education that'll actually get you a job. Art's not gonna get you a job! It's useless! You ain't never gonna get any cash money with art! Sir Jeffrey actually helped me through the process of my art, giving me tips and techniques that my previous art teachers never gave me. He was the one teacher that made me realize the beauty of graying up your colors. More gray paint. No! More! I had to buy a lot of white paint and some black paint, cause this shit is powerful. Besides my teacher actually doing his job, he was also friendly and liked my jokes. He thought I was hilarious. One time I had to do a report in front of class, and I was just joking around and acting silly with it. He really thought it was funny, and I was so happy to see that. He doesn't even get mad when I fall asleep in class. But even when he's friendly and understanding, that doesn't mean that he isn't strict. I haven't mentioned this, but there weren't many students in his art class. There were just 4 students in the first year, and let's say another 4 students in the second year. Oh, and among my group of 4 art students, 2 of them only chose art because they thought it was going to be easy. Unfortunately for them, they were wrong, and they wouldn't do the work. And I guess it's understandable, because for me, I was already drawing my very own first Guroro Gocho fan art when I was just 10 years old, and have been drawing ever since. And they don't do that. And Sir Jeffrey was hard on them because of that. And admittedly, he did kinda go too far with his angry lectures with them. He can be very harsh with his words. He's had his lectures with me too. One time while I was working on one of my projects, which was to make an expressionist style bust made out of clay, He had repeatedly told me to apply the clay on its structure in a certain way, and I kept forgetting his instructions. He snapped at me for not listening, and of course it hurt me. But minutes after his burst of anger, he came up to me again, and he apologized for snapping. I was honestly surprised, and also touched, because never in my life had a teacher of mine ever admitted their mistake to me, their student. I know that's not that big of a deal, but he was my favorite teacher, and well, I'm just a sap, you know. Points for being my favorite teacher, Sir Jeffrey. Heh! On Fridays, our classes would end at 4:30 p.m., but me and my teacher would stay a while longer for an extra art class time, which the others are supposed to attend to, by the way. I'm usually the only one that comes. I would either work on unfinished projects, or Sir Jeffrey would teach me some more lessons like history and other art lessons. If we had the time, he would tell me stories about his personal life and about how his wife is living in Italy, and I would always happily listen, and that's what I really appreciate. He talks to me as if I'm a friend and not just his student. And when it's time to go home, we would wait on each other, packing up our things. And there's this thing we do, like, when he's already done packing and I'm not, he would wait for me so we could go out at the same time, and I do the same with him. And we would talk on our way out and onto the street, then say our goodbyes once it's time to split up. I really enjoyed those times. Oh, there was this one time during class, I was working and Sir Jeffrey just got back from his lunch, and he came up to me and gave me an ice cream cone. A freaking ice cream cone. Like, I did not expect an ice cream cone. He bought it for me while he was out. And I was just, I don't know, I was like, wow, like, this is so nice. You got me an ice cream cone, Sir Jeffrey. I thought it was the nicest thing for him to get me this one ice cream cone. And I know it's just an ice cream cone. You can just buy it on your own, but he did it for me. My very own favorite teacher bought me this sweet delicacy when he could have just not do that. I even took a picture of myself holding the ice cream just so I could keep it as a, memento. God, what is wrong with me? I really loved my art teacher, but the others sadly didn't. And I know that as a fact because they would voice their opinion whenever he's not around, and I would just sit there, just having to listen to all those comments about my favorite teacher. One time when I was in second year, one of the first year students who I often hung out with during art class said, "Ugh, I hate Sir Jeffrey. He got angry at me just for not drawing the way he wants me to. He embarrassed me in front of the other students. I wish he wasn't our teacher. Frick that guy, man." He's not that bad. Yes he is. He's a bad teacher. Frick that guy. Frick! It didn't go exactly like that. He was definitely not saying frick. I told him that I wasn't comfortable talking about this, so he backed off. It's so funny to me that I was the only one who really liked the teacher that everyone else hated. I finally finished high school and me and my teacher said our goodbyes. I honestly had a lot I wanted to say to him, about him being my favorite teacher and how I was thankful for what he taught me. But of course I had to chicken out. No way was I gonna pour out all my feelings. Ugh, gross. I really do miss him though, and I will never forget our times as student and teacher. And I really hope he never sees this video. Hope you like my video. As you've noticed, I changed my coloring style, which I very much like. I hope to make more videos about my school life, and maybe even my college life, cause dang, do I have some I want to share. If you wish to support me, please like and subscribe. And if you like how I draw, I post some illustrations on my Twitter. Okay, I think that's it. I should probably say something to end this. Frick!